bit broader or a little bit more niche, and they go, which isn't always the best look for a project, is it?
Big facts. Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's the hardest for me as well. As I'm kind of a nice guy, and so when I'm doing an AMA with someone, I'm starting to get the feeling that, hey, they don't know what they're talking about, or there's holes in their project. It's hard for me sometimes to, weed through, well, hey, do I just want to ask these questions and obliterate them, or do I want to ask in kind of a nice way, and then I'll talk with them off air later to try and help them through things. So sometimes that's difficult for me in these AMAs.
Well,
Yeah,
if it's my choice, I'd say obliterate them because it's entertaining.
Yeah, I got no
rough.
shame in tearing somebody up on stage if they come unprepared. That's their own bad.
I feel like that's actually part of the AMAs to show how prepared the projects are. So if they send someone who isn't prepared to speak with the questions that are being asked, well, that's kind of reflecting on the project, and that's part of the reason people come to AMAs is to get a feel of the projects and how prepared they are.
Yeah, and if the project is a builder, right, they're going to want to ensure the investors who are going to want to buy in are going to get the best possible information. So this does actually work both ways, theoretically. It's not just let's get the community together and roast the project, which of course that's going to happen, but that's not the goal. If the project is real and it's a builder, then they're going to take good criticism, take that back to the team if the team didn't come, bring everybody, and hopefully build a better product in the end.
Yeah, there's a balance to be struck because, I want to help people grow. And so sometimes it's just young guys that have never been on camera before, and so they're just nervous. Sometimes it's like a tech lead who's not necessarily good at speaking, or communicating their vision. And so I kind of feel like part of my job as the host is to translate what their vision to, like, they're not on YouTube, right? Like that's not their strength. They're a builder, they're a tech lead or something like that. So part of what I'm there to do is help translate their vision to normal people. So yeah, it's difficult to weed through sometimes.
Has anyone ever come to you guys for like a roast session before? Specifically?
Not yet.
Not really, but hey, we get started today if you want.
Heck yeah.
Well, I'm happy to do a roast anytime, so any of you guys can hit me up and I'll come up on stage with you guys and we'll battle it out.
I think I'm too sensitive for that. I don't think I could do it.
Crypto battle of the bands.
Yeah, I think it's quite a British thing as well. British people, we love to just banter with each other and nag each other. It's actually how we show we care about someone, is the meaner we are to you, the more we like you. So it's in our blood, essentially, to roast and have a good laugh at it as well.
That culturally explains quite a lot, in my opinion.
Facts.
Here you guys were thinking we were just savages.
I mean, to be honest, yes.
The investors want to make money. If we're the host of the AMA, we've kind of got to be a little bit pointed at least. I mean, if we soften the bed and make the bed for every project that shows up every time, it's not going to be particularly entertaining or informative. It's kind of just a shill session at that point.
Yeah, no, that was where I decided to start putting my foot down with the TulipDAO, was when I realized that other people's bags were in my hands, right? It's like, you guys, at that point I realized I was like a gatekeeper, and I was like, you motherfuckers got to get through me. If you get through me, then maybe people might buy your bags,
Yeah. Actually, speaking of which, do you guys have like any requirements before you allow a project up onto your AMA spaces and such?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I think Cryptoneers has probably one of the toughest gauntlets to get through as far as coming up into our community and speaking. I mean, we put them through a research phase, an ISA, which is infrastructure security assessment, where we'll look at their smart contract and look at the tokenomics in the white paper and say, hey, does this is X meet X on the white paper, right? Are they saying they're going to do what they're going to do? Often, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we found like malicious code or code that's written by somebody that has no idea what the hell they're doing. We really do put projects through the gauntlet when dealing with them. As you guys know, right? Delta Finance came into our community, and I think you guys run into a lot more questions and digging than probably most other places, and I think that's very important, right? Doing that due diligence in the beginning before allowing them into the community, right? Because anybody can allow somebody to come in and talk, but is the smart contract written? Do they know what they're talking about? Is this something, is there a runway, right? Is their emissions good? Have they sought out help with this kind of stuff? So it really depends on who you're going to for the AMA. But yeah, doing due diligence before that project gets into your community is the most important thing, in my opinion.
We also have
definitely. Go ahead.
like way of letting projects into our community where we like more the interview style where we get on a call or have long conversations with the projects that are wanting to come on the DeFi Hub to make sure they have a solid plan. And we really like long-term projects that have KYC'd and audited and are very active with their community. So we more like to interview the project and get to see it ourselves and join the server and kind of make it a project to project basis, deciding on who to let into our community.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Go ahead.
Oh, go for it. Go for it. No, you're good, boss.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I remember the Cryptonaires was a lot. That was a lot of things to go through. I did it myself, and that was a lot stricter than a lot of other things I had gone through before. Just a comment on that.
Yeah, pump us up, baby. There you go. Yeah.
I'll say that when someone's gone through Cryptonaires, I'm pretty comfortable letting them on my channel and things like that. So I use Cryptonaires too as kind of a gatekeep for me as well at times.
I'm gonna have to start charging you, James, if that's the case.
Yeah, man, just send the bill. Send the bill.
I'm just kidding, man. James and I talk a lot, and he's one of the best dudes I know in crypto. So we share a lot of back and forth and good information between each other, and he's a joy to work with. So I'm happy to be up here with him.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, and he's also got a great pair of biceps. He could probably bench press about 2 of me.
I never checked
No
out James
comment.
in that manner. So James, do you work out? I had no idea, man.
I used to be like obsessed with working out, but as you get older, I'm 34, and as you get older, it's like harder to stay in shape. So I'm like less motivated than I used to be, but I do enjoy the gym.
And then you found crypto, and then you have no time to do anything, right? Because you got crypto, and then you got your family. So between the two, gym really doesn't kind of fit in those plans.
Right. Well, you can do crypto between sets, I've found.
Yeah, just a quick drop set, and then back to doing the show session. Or
Yep, exactly.
Actually, speaking of which, what brought you guys generally to crypto?
What got us into crypto? Was that the
Is
question?
there like the definitive moment, like that made you decide, you wanted to get into crypto, learn more about it, or was it like a sort of gradual thing where you heard more and more about it, got into it, and then decided you wanted to make an AMA stuff about it?
Oh no! So like several years ago, my father actually said, "Hey, I'm thinking about buying something called XRP. Can you look into it for me?" And I was like, "What the hell is XRP?" And so I got onto YouTube, right, which normal people do, and I think I didn't leave my house for like 2 to 3 months straight. I was just like enamored with just learning everything I could because I knew this was going to be this is the future, right? This is technology that's going to empower the world to either move money or products or whatever it is, what have you. But crypto is really just technology, right? And this is like the forefront of the newest technology that we're going to be using over the next 10 to 15 years. So, you know, I was hooked right away. You know, it was like something that I just, you know, had to learn everything I could about. And then I really got into the point where I just wanted to educate people on everything that I was learning because it was so important.
Yeah, I was a college student in 2010 when I first heard about the Bitcoin. I was doubting its efficacy for many years, sort of following its first sort of pseudo legal use cases. And that was always somewhat disconcerting for me as an investor. I was just a poor college student. I didn't have even $1 to throw at it back then. I'd rather have let my gaming computer play Warcraft at the time than go ahead and try to mine or anything like that. Some of my friends in college were very anarchistic about it. They wanted to mine on university power and not pay for it. And most of them are landfill millionaires. They burned out their computers, never kept their private keys. It's kind of a sad state of affairs, but I'm sure that happened to a lot of people. Years and years later, as a retail clerk, gainfully underemployed, a friend of mine in the tech industry says, "Hey, you did me a favor a few months back. Take this USDC stuff and learn about it. Figure out how to trade. Learn some shit." From there, I was off on a rabbit hole. Here I am.
Yeah, and I actually came for the money, but stayed for the technology. So kind of a reverse to some people. But I
No
was
judgments here, brother.
No judgment.
I was an investor, and then I had bought some Bitcoin just kind of as a speculative thing just a few years ago. So I'm newer to crypto than a lot of people here. And then I wasn't that interested in it, but then somebody told me about Strong, unfortunately, was my first experience. And actually, you know, somebody told me, hey, you can make 26% returns a month on Strong. And I was like, okay, yeah, right. They're like, just buy one node and try it. So I bought one node, and then, you know, it was working out. I was making tons of money. And so then I bought 20 nodes and then was making a lot of money. And that's kind of how I first got in. And I was trying to tell my investor friends, hey, you can come into crypto and you know, make tons of money. And now in the bear market, they're not my friends anymore. So
Funny how that happens.
Facts.
Am I really the person with the most crypto market experience here? I thought there would for sure be somebody that was like mining at the beginning. One of y'all.
So my experience came from more of a technical investment kind of strategies from the actual traditional investment markets. So when Bitcoin first came out, I went, "What's this old crap? It's a scam. It's a Ponzi." And then about 3 years later, I came back and I went, "It's still a scam and a Ponzi, but I could probably swing trade it." So I was taking $100 here, $100 there. And then I woke up one day and Bitcoin was at $70,000. And I went, "You were a fucking moron." And you should have just bought it when you first discovered it. But and also apologies for my language. I do swear I'm British again.
Me too,
But
brother.
yeah, it's I got into crypto probably about 3 years ago now. Started going into the altcoins, things like that. And yeah, then I went full degen probably about a year and a half ago now, and never looked back.
Man, okay, so Necksus said you heard about BTC in about 2010, and you were like watching it around there. Yeah, I think I bought my first Bitcoin at the end of 2011 or the beginning of 2012, and unlike you guys, I had nothing to lose, and I pissed away probably 15 Bitcoins my first year trading altcoins in like 2013. 2014, I've easily pissed away over 30 to 50 Bitcoin just doing dumb shit with altcoins and like messing around, you know. And
But you learned.
Oh, so much. I have so much time in the market now, and it was a blessing, right? And BTC back then was $200, so it wasn't like I was killing myself at the time. But yeah, there's been a lot of regrets through the time in the market, where there's been a lot of missed opportunities, but it's been a lot of opportunities that I nailed. You know, it's been exciting, it's been fun. I've been there for the birth of DeFi. I've been through birth of altcoins, when the only thing that was different about an altcoin was the hash, the algorithm that was, encrypting the data. And yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a wild ride, but we have come so far. That's all I got to say.
Can I add too? So I came for the money, but I stayed for the technology. And so, like, as I've started to look into some of the things that crypto can do, especially like Sensei mentioned, XRP, and then Constellation and BioFi and some of these other projects, I'm seeing. Hey, there are some things that are made possible with the blockchain that wouldn't be possible otherwise. And so I think the way the internet took off in the 2000s, I think the blockchain is going to do a similar thing here over the next 10 years or so. And so, yeah, I want to be a part of that.
100%. And that was, trust me, dude, I saw that in 2011, 2012. I saw that. Like, this is groundbreaking. By the time Ethereum came around, it was like, okay, this is seriously going to be everywhere, and I saw that, and that was why I always stayed. I remember telling people 2013, like, dude, just go buy one. There's only 21 million ever going to be in existence. Like, do the math, bro,
Wait, you're telling me there's technology behind cryptocurrency?
No.
Believe it or not.
Oh no. Well, I mean, I've only been crypto for like maybe a year now, but I first heard about it like years ago when I was doing like hashing algorithm studies for school, and yeah, so I've always been interested because of the technology, but only learning more about it because of the money.
That's so funny. You actually, the most far detached thing that nobody would land on crypto because of you'd landed on because of encryption.
Yeah, because I do a lot of encryption algorithms back for my main job.
That's so funny. That's probably the least said thing about crypto, like how people found it. Oh, I was studying cryptography, and then I learned about Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's actually so odd. I'm surprised that like not a lot of people here have actually been here as long. I thought people were here longer, like you were saying. Actually, like, go
I
ahead.
have a question I wanted to kind of pose to the group. A few of
Go
us
for
have
it.
talked about how we've came to crypto, how we might have had some weird doubts at first. I know I did. But I guess where my question comes in is I'm wondering, among this group, how do you guys avoid getting angry at your past self for not knowing what was right in front of you? Because that was something that happened to me. See, I wrote a story early on when my community decided they wanted me to do the hosting and AMA stuff. I wrote a blog about how the first time I ever saw someone trade a digital asset for a real one was in the year 2001 when I watched a kid spend lunch money on a Stone of Jordan in Diablo 2, if anyone remembers that game.
I loved Diablo 2.
You have to become numb to it, man. I can't tell you. Like, just even like the last couple of years, I've had a couple crazy calls that I accidentally like forgot that I sold. And I look back and I'm like, oh no, the 6 million% on Seek VR that I bought at 0.0005 like cents. I accidentally paper handed it. I thought I had it, but I have the call in my Discord. I made the call. Is that like it went to like $1.50 from 0.005. Like, I had a $200 bag that would have been worth over 95,000 or like something like that, something crazy. So like there's so many stories like that where you're like, fuck, I had this and I had that, or I lost this wallet. I lost 200,000 or 300,000 digibyte. I've lost 3 million Dogecoin. So much, so much stuff. It's like over the years, it's you have to become numb to it. Otherwise, you're gonna miss the next opportunity because your sadness.
Yeah,
I have
I think.
No, go ahead,
No, go
James.
ahead. Oh, okay. I think that realizing that regret doesn't change anything, it doesn't help anything, it just wrecks you now. because you can't go back and change anything. And I think too, realizing that hindsight's always 2020. So like your whole life, you're gonna look back and see, oh, I could have changed this, I could have changed that, and it's just not helpful. It just makes you feel bad. It doesn't really accomplish anything. But then looking back and seeing, well, what could I learn from that? And so if money that was lost that taught you something, unfortunately, there's just no ways to learn a lot of those lessons except for losing a lot. So you just make sure you never waste your past mistakes. But yeah, there's no use in regret. It doesn't help anything. It'll just make you feel bad.
You have to forgive yourself.
And I suppose for me, I was actually a degen before degen was really a thing. As even when I was in the traditional markets, I was day trading with 50x leverage on things like the S&P 500 and some smaller cap stocks. So that kind of trains your mind to analyze and look at money just like a robot would. You end up not caring because it's just numbers on a screen. And from there, you end up having no regrets because you just go, well, I did what I did and it happened, and let's move on and try to make more money.
Yeah, I think every trade that you do or every maybe loss that you miss is always a learning experience, right? How could I do this differently, right? And I think in the very beginning I was very bad about taking profits, right? I was always like, oh, it's gonna go higher, it's gonna go higher. And then I learned, hey, you need to take profits along the way, because if not, one day you might wake up wrecked. So every loss is a learning experience, and if you can take that and go forward and adjust your strategy, that really makes you become a stronger stronger self in the market, right? You just being able to adapt and really understand, hey, you need to set up a strategy, right? When you buy something, you need to say, hey, is this a long-term hold that I'm putting this in my bags for the next 5 to 10 years, or is this something I'm going to be needing to day trade and I need to keep an eye on, right? So always having a strategy when you're going into something is probably the best and smartest way to trade.
I agree. I also feel like making a strategy, at least for me, has been like essential in making myself not get burnt out and not get really annoyed at myself afterwards, because I can look back and be like, well, I tried my best and made this strategy beforehand, which I can see, and I knew this was going to be a short-term play, and I followed it to the best of my ability. So yeah, it didn't work out, but it is a learning experience, and I know that I did, make a plan beforehand and at least think about it to the best of my ability.
Yeah, I think it's important when you make trades to have like your own understanding of what your risk management is. Like I think one of my benefits that I did was I actually went and searched up a lot of like resources on how to like properly set risk management, how to say like what's my take profit, what's my take loss percentages and stuff. So I felt like decently okay with any of the decisions I made.
Wow, I just want to say thanks for everyone's comments. It's continued. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I have a question. So when you guys do your AMAs, what would you say is the most common question you guys have for projects?
When moon?
That was the one I saw last year. This year, I'm seeing a little less when moon.
When not poor anymore.
The most important question. The most important question in any AMA is understanding what is the use case for the protocol, right? What is this actually going to do to impact somebody's life, right? I think that is really, when you get down to it, that's the most important thing, right? Because if it's really just a Ponzi-nomics, hey, I need more investors to make more money for other investors, really that's not a use case, right? You need to really find something that is going to impact millions if not billions of people. And if you can find that project that really has something that stands out, that not a lot of other projects are doing, that's really when you're going to find a winner.
Yeah, that seems to be getting more and more rare by the day. I don't know if I'm the only person, but especially now, there's first of all not very many projects launching, but especially there towards March, we were starting to see more and more just if pardon me, but dog shit projects trying to get through and just copy pasting, no marketing plan, no experience, no biz dev, just falling on their faces, you know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
not having a marketing team is probably the worst thing, right? When you get into an AMA and it's like, all right, well, how big's the team? Oh, well, it's me and this other guy and this one other person. So there's the three of us, and we're gonna go out and we're gonna change the world with all three of us. And it's like, guys, that's not a plan. You know, you guys need to go back to you guys need to go back to the drawing board and figure this shit out because, yeah, you see a lot of that, right? You see a lot of forks of nothing and.
Real talk.
You know when so back when Thor came out, right, you saw a lot of people forking Thor code, but really they didn't know how to edit or fix the Thor code. So you saw a lot of projects just dying because they really didn't know how to fix the contract, you know, as Thor would go through. I mean, Thor is a bad example now as you know, 6 months later we see where it's at, but
what
you know,
about Olympus DAO?
oh yeah, you saw a lot of that too, right? And look where all those projects are, right? Just MIA, gone.
Yeah, I mean,
not many survivors.
It was pretty bad there between the forks and the node forks and then the Titano forks, like gee, and then the Tomb forks. At least the Tomb forks you can make some money. The Titano forks, just no chance, dude, none.
But Time
Yeah,
Wonderland is coming back as well, mind.
Yeah, my favorite question right now is where's revenue going to come from, which goes right along with what value do you offer. And I also like asking why do you need the blockchain to do what you're doing?
You cut out a little. I lost your answer.
So games, and there's
I
not
think
really
he's saying
any
blockchain,
purpose
right?
behind what they're doing. There's no revenue streams, and this is not safe. I don't recommend this. But yeah, I think I'm losing service. So never mind. It wasn't that good.
You're
No,
good.
he was saying like, why do you need the blockchain to do your project? Like, why specifically on crypto and not, you know, elsewhere, right?
Oh yeah.
I think that's a good question because oftentimes you'll have projects that are on crypto specifically just because they want to make, you know, money, not because, you know, there's any sort of extra benefit from it being on the blockchain or like utility that is added from the blockchain, right?
Yeah, there's a couple questions that I'm always seeing from my community. One is usually marketing related, where in the world you're targeting for investment and why. And the second would be, why did your project choose this coin or this chain to build on? Why didn't you choose Ethereum? Why didn't you choose Binance? Why didn't you choose any of the other ones?
Yeah. I mean, I would say like generally speaking, unless they have a good answer for that, like it's usually not a good sign. Like, what do you think is like a generally good answer for the type of question of like, why do you choose this blockchain, or why did you decide to do this particular coin pairing and such?
Well, it all depends on what type of project, guys, right? So, like, if it's like an NFT project, I can understand why you want to mint on Ethereum, right? Because that's where a lot of the trading goes on OpenSea and different places like that.
For sure.
But if you're building a node project, right, and you're building on Ethereum and it's costing you like $40, $50, $100 to claim or whatever, and it's costing you even more money to swap, you know, that's where you have your AVAX and your Phantom projects coming along, right? So, you know, selecting the right chain, and a lot of projects don't want to choose Binance, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, it's on Binance, it's probably a scam, right? So, you know, you have to be very careful where you're launching your project and why. And if you can actually build a project where you can actually go across multi-chain, that's really where you're going to find a lot of benefit, right? That way, and because some people are like Phantom nuts, some people are AVAC nuts, some people are Binance nuts, and really when you can combine all three and you can kind of feel where you're most comfortable buying and selling, that's really where you're going to find a lot of, you know, a lot more people being able to come into your project and use it and try to make money. So picking the chain is extremely important, going forward for any project, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, in terms of listing out the reason why you choose a chain, anytime anybody asks me like why we pick to go on Polygon, for instance, I give a straight answer straight away. I can tell you exactly why. I won't bore you to death with it right now. But like you said earlier, if they can't answer that simple question, do they utility and benefit of that blockchain is?
I guess the question is in how they talk about why they chose the chain too, because I'll see a lot of NFT projects prop up that'll be like, "Oh, we're going to build on wax, right? Because it's going to be cheap and it's going to be affordable and people can stake." And but then they sort of forget that, oh, well, wax has limitations that involve your memory and all sorts of other things. Other projects will tell me, "Oh, we're going to build on Binance because the gas fees are going to be cheap, and that's the reason." Okay, that doesn't tell us about me, at least about why technically you chose to build it. Okay, so you want to save some money on both sides of transactions. Make that kind of makes sense, but what else?
Yeah, the transaction claim as well. You can argue that for basically the majority of the EVM compatible blockchains now as well, can't you? So it's not really a good argument anymore.
Yeah, maybe a year and a half ago, but not today.
Yeah, no, I totally get the. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Well, Too Crazy is gonna come up soon, actually. But what I was gonna say was, I totally agree with like people just saying the gas fees thing, because I remember I was interviewing a project on an AMA, and I asked them why they're on BSC, and they're just like, well, it's the most popular chain, and Binance is very trustworthy. And then people were like saying stuff like, what about the centralization of the validators and other stuff? And he just like didn't know about it, and it was like a project founder. It
Oh
was kind
yeah.
of like, that was a little
Before
shocking.
all of the people who can find all the shady things about Binance enter the chat and then tell you all about them.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to summon them. Not like this. Oh, by the way, if you do want to send questions, there's AMA questions in the Delta Finance Discord. Hello?
Well, let's go have a look.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's been saying anything, but let's check it out. Well, speaking of which, if you want to sign up, the poker tournament is up. And if you guys have any like tweets and stuff that you want to post up here, I think I can share tweets.
I just got to Twitter. My first participation in the space, so.
Okay, awesome.
You can always,
generally
you
speaking,
can always,
okay,
you can always tweet about our white paper if you want, but no pressure.
no pressure, of course. Just a classic chill right there. So wait, generally speaking, what do you think is like the best timing to do AMAs? Because a lot of people are like globally, but you do want to sort of reach a certain time frame so that everyone can sort of be awake for everything.
Oh, that's the battle I always fight in my community and never ever win.
I can give you an answer which is completely non-biased, and it hurts me inside because I'm British and we like to think we're the center of the universe.
So
You
does
kind of
America,
have
to be fair.
yeah, but you do have to accommodate for America. They're the biggest market in the world. They spend the most in the stock markets and in crypto. So really, they're your biggest clientele and the place you want to be hitting.
You know what I found, guys? Like the best time to do AMAs is probably the weekend. That's probably the sweetest spot because most people are off, especially kind of in the U.S. and different countries. So like I tend to try to get my AMAs maybe like 1 o'clock in the afternoon PST or 2 o'clock. That way it's like 4 or 5 Eastern, and then it's like, like what, 8 or 9 p.m. UTC. That's probably the sweetest spot I found, because that way you can cover South America, North America, including Canada, and then you got your, European Union type places, the UK, Italy, stuff like that. So, having it kind of in that early afternoon PST will also get you even to the Hawaii market. Not like there's a lot of people trading in Hawaii, but that's probably the best time. If you do it during a weekday, you really need to decide, hey, is this really going to be pointed at the U.S. market and South America, North America, or is it really going to be pointed at, Europe and Asia and other places like that? So it's really difficult to figure that out. But, the weekend is probably the best, because that's when a lot of people are off.
In
I would.
Oh, you go for it.
I'd mimic that, to be fair. The most successful, most crowded AMAs I've seen generally are the ones that tend to be hosted at the start around 7 p.m. UTC.
In my community, I get a variety of results. When I was asked to start hosting AMAs, I was sort of told right away, we have a global audience. They're from the US to the Philippines. We just have to try to get as many of them in at the right time as we can. And because of the up to 12 plus hour time differences between me and the States, and even one of our moderators over in the Philippines, shout out to her, it's difficult to capture everyone together. I have found that in my community, because we have such a vast number of Asian participants, we have a lot of people from the Middle East, we have a lot of people from India. As a result, if I do it on the weekend, a lot of those folks are off work and trying to deal with the things they can't do during the week for their more extended family situations. So as a result, I get better results with my AMAs as far as turnout when I do it at about 2 to 4 UTC in the middle of the working week, because I'll capture most of the world at some point during their workday. So a lot of those folks will multitask, and they'll prefer to have something like me rambling to somebody about finance or a hot new speculative project with upward potential while they're coding or working their white collar jobs, because a vast majority of my audience seems to fit that demographic description.
Yeah, I agree with you that really early morning in the US, like 5 a.m. West Coast, seems to be really, really good for AMA time.
I could see that, yeah.
It's about the same. It's about 3 UTC, I think, or something like that. Oh, I guess, or a little bit after that, a little bit before. Either way, in that area, yeah.
Thank you, guys. This is very motivating, because I live in the Philippines, so that's my time zone.
Shout out to Filipino crypto nerds everywhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take off here. I'm actually driving and losing service, but one nice thing, if you do them on YouTube or you get them recorded, like on YouTube, I might have 400 live viewers, but then I have 3,000 that watch the recording. So it's actually, the timing doesn't make as much of a difference, just because since it's recorded, you do it when you can, but then the recording is where you, at least on YouTube, where I get most of the traffic. So that helps with timing.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, once we started recording all of our AMAs at TulipDAO, it got a lot easier because it was a little less stressful. Everybody can go listen to it at their own leisure.
I use a Tipbot wallet on Discord to spread airdrops when I do AMAs. Me and the mod team do, so that tends to get people salty. Like when they can't make it, they'll catch the recording and go, "Oh, I missed those airdrops."
Yeah, that's why I don't do any airdrops. No, I'm just kidding. I do need to sneak out though. Yeah, just driving and losing service. So hey, thanks everybody. It's been great talking with you, and yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Cheers, James.
Cool, man.
Pleasure to have you, James.
Yeah.
Thanks
Love
for
you.
coming.
Bye.
Chris, are you here? You've been muted this entire time, by the way.
Yeah, I'm here. I was listening because you guys are quite interesting, and I didn't have much to add. The only question I had was like, what are you guys thinking about the current market conditions? Like, how you preparing for? Looks like we're getting into a recession. Like, so what?
Getting
How are you
into?
planning? How are you planning your investments and stuff? I'm curious about that.
We're not getting into a recession. We're in a recession. So
Yeah,
I don't know if I don't know if you looked at the last inflation numbers around the world, but inflation's out of control. So
yeah, they don't look good. They don't look good.
no,
Yeah, but
I mean you have to look at crypto is just like its only place, right? You have to the stock market usually in America and other countries pump the crypto market, right? When people are making a ton of money in the stock market, they're taking it and putting it into crypto, right? And so what we're really waiting for with crypto is rules of the road, right? We're looking for mass adoption. And I think a lot of countries are going to follow what the United States said as policy. I know there's some countries like the UK, Singapore, United Arab Emirates, have a lot more friendly crypto regulation. And I think the United States is finally waking up, right? They introduced a bill several weeks ago and they're working on it. I do see crypto regulation happening in the next, maybe 12 to 18 months, depending on how fast they can get this done. But once you get that global rules of the road, I do think a lot of countries will jump on and follow like they do mostly with the United States and how they set policy. And that's really when we're going to start taking off. But to get out of the bear market that we're in right now, inflation needs to get under control. I mean, you have supply chain shortages, you have all these other things that are really kind of affecting the market as a whole. And we're really not going to get out of this until some of that stuff starts getting fixed, right? And so, the Fed in our country is raising rates again. 6 months ago, you could have bought a $600,000 house and your mortgage payment was, $2,500. At 3%. Now you're looking at 6%. Buying that same home 6 months later, it's an extra $1,000 or $1,200 just because of interest, right? So, as an economy as a whole, that is going to need to improve a whole lot before you really see, the rise of crypto, right? And we're really waiting for Bitcoin to kind of turn around. And until Bitcoin starts turning around and going up again, we're really going to stay at some of these prices. And I do think we might even go a little bit lower here, depending on what happens over the next couple of weeks. So, I'm waiting for the bottom, whatever that is, and I'm picking up more ISO tokens and things like that, tokens that are really going to be used on a global scale.
yeah,
Yeah, my expectation is that inflation is going to keep going up, especially for the winter, because essentially the crisis in Ukraine is just going to push the price of oil up for the winter, and the price of food is going to skyrocket as well.
I have a quick question. You guys are really talking about a lot of macro stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think traditional macro investors are the ones who are going to be pumping our crypto bags when it comes to real bull season? Or sorry, not even bull season, but even just like niche metas that are pumping? Because it's not really the case. We have markets that are going 100, 300% NFT markets daily. There's lots of crypto money still pumping markets. I think the whole for people to just lean on the macro argument and to just tap out like, oh, I'm not buying anything, is first of all stupid. Second of all, it's unwise to be teaching people that, because if you stable up and have a safe strategy, you could easily be making huge swings today, be making a bunch of money, stacking a bunch of Solana, trading NFTs, or Ethereum, trading NFTs, whatever it is.
Buying some Lambos.
People are very misguided by the macro sentiment. I think we as crypto people need to stop it, honestly,
Well,
because there's still money to be made,
You're right. I'm very much in agreement with you on that, and I'd ask you a pointed question. To what degree do you think that the decentralist mentality is affecting this? Because around my community in particular, R, regulation, that's a dirty word. It's almost like a lot of the maximalists don't want a seat at the regulatory table. And as someone who's been involved in government myself in the past, that confuses me because the first thing I want as a crypto miner and trader is I want a seat at the bargaining table. I want my people involved in that conversation.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what, because I've been here since the beginning, dude. And these regulations, they bother me because I came to Bitcoin when I wasn't getting taxed on anything getting traded, and now it's like really starting to get to me that now we have all these people who have no crypto experience and no idea about the founding principles of why this is important in here trying to make legislation about my fucking crypto. You know what I mean? And that's how it feels right now.
Well, guys,
Like
check
this
this
guy
out,
with
though.
a degree that was created like in the last couple of years. You know what I mean? Like this blockchain degree this guy has making legislation was created in the last 3 or 4 years for this university. He's on a speed track and he got it quickly. You know what I mean? Like this stuff
Yeah.
isn't well developed yet. These
Yeah,
people
for
who
sure.
have these people who have these degrees coming out of school making legislation right now, where they're very wet behind the ears. They don't understand blockchain or what it really means to a lot of people and the people who carried it this far. We carried this. You know what I mean? Like
You're right. No, you're right. I use the Wild West metaphor all the time. The decentralists and the libertarians were the frontiersmen. They carried the torches and they took their covered wagons and they went out and charted the frontier. And now
Yeah.
some random guy from Washington, D.C., way back at his ivory tower university is going to wander out to the West with, trains and say, "Hey guys, I'm taking over. Thanks for plowing the road for us, and we're going to screw the rest of you on the way."
Yeah, I
Well,
hate that.
I mean, kind of sounds like classic.
guys, it comes down to this, man. If you don't have regulation, how are you going to get all of these banks and financial institutions on board, right?
I
They're
agree
not
with
going to
that.
start buying. They're not going to start buying into a market that has no rules of the road. And I get what you're saying, that you want your libertarian, you want it to be, for the people. You want it to be this. But if you really want to see a $50 trillion crypto market, you're going to have rules of the road no matter what you do, right? Unless you want to sit in a $1 trillion to $2 trillion market the rest of your lives, there's going to need to be rules of the road. And that's, you're going to have to accept that, and you're going to have to move on. And all we can do as people right now is help shape the conversation. That's all we can do, right? Call your, your congressman or your senators and say, "Hey, this is something that's important to us. Don't fuck it up. We need proper regulation." So, because what regulation will do, guys, it'll keep investors safe, right? Like if we had regulation right now, the last 6 months of Ponzi-nomics projects probably wouldn't have made it through, right? Because they would have had to do reporting and they would have had to do 100 different things. If you looked at the crypto bill that was put into the Senate, 3 weeks ago, that has a lot of customer protections in it, right? And you're not going to get a 30 trillion or $50 trillion market without some type of regulation. So it's either, do you want to sit here and count your pennies, or do you want regulation to come in, and that's when you're going to be turning into a multi-millionaire. That's what you're
I'm
facing right
100% with you.
I can I'll counter that. I agree with you to a certain extent. My concern is that it's the wrong people that are carrying it to regulation. That's always been my concern, and it's going to take a lot of a lot of people doing and being loud and really trying to get involved. Like I'm seriously considering getting into the legislation somehow, however possible, like trying to butt my way into California legislation when it comes to blockchain. And it's just like it's scary to me because like I said, I've been here the whole way, the whole journey, and I feel like something is being taken from me because I have been such a strong proponent of blockchain, the fundamentals of blockchain and what it means for the individual, right? Self-sovereignty and all these things. It's not even I'm not an anarchist. I'm barely a libertarian. I'm very middle ground when it comes to a lot of things, but I'm very, I very much believe that people's property and what people work for belongs to them, and that's where I'll leave that.
And
Do you
I'm
guys?
pretty sure
Do
when
you guys?
Sensei says regulation, he doesn't mean the kind of regulation where the government just comes in and this person's a winner and this person's a loser and we're just going to.
Yeah.
You're
He
breaking
means
up.
reasonable.
No. Do you guys know who Wally? What is it? Wally Adeyemo is? Have you guys heard of that guy? Wally AD. It's Adeyemo. Do you know who that is? Okay,
No.
so Wally is the new Deputy Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. This guy's 41. He spent 2 years at BlackRock, and now he is going to be in charge about setting rules of the road for crypto for the United States. I don't know if you guys saw his speech or whatever, but he's talking about building a global rules of the road for crypto adoption. And this guy is smart. This guy is not going to be, hampering or doing anything like that. This guy understands crypto, how important it is to the global remittances, making things cheaper, tracking things, like a VeChain, things like that. But if you don't know who this guy is, he's the new Deputy Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. And this is the guy who they put in charge of setting rules of the road in crypto for mass global adoption. If you want a video, I can send you a video of this guy. But if you listen to him speak, he is all for mass adoption, creating simple rules of the road, not destroying crypto as a whole, but making sure that we protect investors as a whole. And if you don't know who he is, you should Google him right now. I'm going to be talking about him a little bit in my Sensei chat in my community today. But this is the person you want in charge of setting rules of the road for crypto. And I think this is a blessing. And if you don't know who he is, look him up today.
I will look him up, but my initial reaction is we're all fucked.
No.
But why are we fucked though? I mean, don't you want a 10, 20, 20, 30 trillion dollar market though? I mean, that's how we all become millionaires instantly.
What's the difference if you have to give 40% away? I don't get it.
All right, so taxes are taxes, man. That's just something there's what's the two things in life that are certain are what are death and taxes, right? There's no way you can get around it. If you don't want to pay taxes, move to a place where taxes aren't a thing, right? You can move to Puerto Rico, something like that. But we need. I mean, what the sister company of the stock market is building a crypto stock market, trading market right now, right? This stuff is happening. You're going to be walking into your banks in 12 months and they're going to be all selling you or offering you cryptocurrency, right? This is coming. You can't stop this. All we can do is help shape what is about to happen. And that only starts with each one of us getting out there and calling our congressperson saying, hey, this is something that I'm very passionate about, that we need proper regulation. We need something that's not going to kill crypto, but help it grow and help it thrive.
Absolutely. That's what I mean when I say we need a seat at the table. We don't want to let big bankers write all the rules. Obviously, I was hesitant about BlackRock guy at first, but once you went a little more into his bona fides, I personally feel a little bit better. That being said, it's still BlackRock, so I understand our decentralist libertarian friends' anxieties about that. But the way we stop them from writing the rules that dictate that we can't drive on their shiny road is we get a seat at the table.
I hear you, man. Maybe we need to write and say, hey, we need a civilian seat at the table. But I mean, you saw Charles Hoskinson in front of Congress a couple weeks ago. He's trying to explain to these 70 or 80-year-olds why crypto is important and why we need it, right? I mean, you look at DAG, right? You look at Constellation working with the U.S. military, Department of Defense, the U.S. Navy. These guys are working with NASA and all these other places, right? You need cryptocurrency in a way, right, to protect people's information, right? How many emails have you gotten saying, oh shit, we have a data breach, all your information's leaked out now on the dark web? Too many, right? And crypto is going to help protect that information, right? So your tax records, your freaking DMV records, all of that stuff is going to be protected by blockchain as soon as these guys get their heads out of their asses and actually make proper regulation for us. But we need regulation to grow, guys. And I know it kind of sucks, but the last 10 years, it really has been the Wild West. We do need some rules of the road. And once we get those rules of the road, then we can, as a global scale, everybody will be getting into crypto, right? You have the Starlink system, right, by Elon Musk, right? That's going to give crypto wallets and crypto and knowledge to places like Asia or places in Africa where they don't have internet access, but they have cell phones, right? All of those people will be, will be able to send remittances or be able to get educated. And I mean, that is on a global scale, that's what you need to get 1 billion people into crypto or 2 billion people into crypto. And that only happens with proper regulation. And I mean, I'm probably beating the drum here of regulation, but I'm ready to go, make my hundreds of millions of dollars on different projects. But until we get that, we're not going to be able to do that, guys, on those blue chips.
Do you want me to write some extra regulations for you? Seems like you like them a whole lot.
Hey, I like money a whole lot, and I want to be out there spending it. And until we actually get this, we're not going to be able to do that, guys. It's just going to be the same Ponzi-nomic scammers out of left field all the time.
How about self-regulation? Why can't DeFi projects organize together to create regulations themselves?
That's a great question.
A lot of industries are self-regulating. Look at doctors and dentists and whatnot, engineers.
But at the same time, that's a problem.
No, but they have their own associations, okay, and they create their own rules. And you don't have to join them, but if you're part of a DeFi association, let's say you have your own code of ethics and so on, and it looks like it can give a little bit more credibility to some projects. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, the SRO thing actually was mentioned by the government. Did you guys hear about that?
Wait, guys, can I interrupt for a bit? We have Jet Tech here is actually the founder of Delta Finance.
Oh, hey, Jet Tech.
It's not Jet Tech.
No, I had to come on a different account. I had to jump on a different account because Chase was using the Delta one. Sorry I'm late, guys. I had a bit of a mare at home. It seems like it's been going really well. A whole bunch of topics being discussed. Thank you so much for everyone who's coming and who's planning on joining us. There's not many people here, but bear market, we got what we got. But yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone because I didn't get a chance. And yeah, I'll try and dip in and out. But yeah, it looks cool and thanks to everyone for coming and thanks for Chase for hosting it.
No, pleasure, mate. And it's lovely to hear your sweet, smooth English voice.
Oh, God.
I'm not alone on the stage anymore.
Go on, what were we talking about?
Well,
should we regulation versus decentralization in a sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if there were any.
Actually,
have we touched on the new dude in charge of the Treasury in America?
Yes.
Because I found that a bit interesting.
Some of us are troubled. Some of us are bullish. It's a mixed bag. Jury's still out.
Just join me in the middle, guys, and you'll be happy for the rest of your life.
I don't think anybody's bullish or anybody should be, but there's definitely a lot of opportunities to make money right now, and to be looking away from markets is unwise.
Well, it's as they say, isn't it? Historically, time in the market over timing the market. So if you're involved, and you'll hopefully actually make some money.
I'd like to double down, though, on what Brent said about remaining in the middle. There's so much that's polarizing and able to be used as a wedge to divide folks in a partisan sense. And as a DeFi and crypto, Bitcoin, ETH person, that has brought me together more with people than any of that stuff. And I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, to be fair, as angry as people can get with losing money and stuff, the crypto space in general has been phenomenal for me. I've made friends across the planet. I've made partnerships with people across the planet. It brings all people like us together, like-minded individuals who share some of the same opinions and some different opinions, and it's just this real melting pot of ideas and information. And crypto is almost more of just a currency, isn't it now? It's a community as well.
Sure shrunk my world.
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking about something that CryptoSensei was saying earlier with remittances. I think one of the biggest things that the crypto actually brings is that, before we're using remittances and like wiring of, if you wire somewhere, there's such a huge fee, and it's really an old system that doesn't really work very well. I think crypto solves that. And I thought that was like something that, it's not really discussed enough. The fact that crypto, just in terms of like payment, which is sort of the initial idea behind like Bitcoin, right, as a payment, I think it's sort of coming more and more, a reality.
There's no way you're going to be able to use Bitcoin as a global payment and settlement option, though, right,
Oh,
guys?
yeah, definitely not Bitcoin.
Hold on.
Definitely not Bitcoin.
Hold on. I just saw a paper from the Federal Bank of Cleveland that suggests that it's entirely possible that the Lightning Network could facilitate Bitcoin as an international payment.
So let me ask you this though: why would you use Bitcoin over something like XRP or XLM to do payments? Like why would you? It's much cheaper, it's much faster, and it's much more reliable. Why would you ever use Bitcoin? You wouldn't. Banks and financial institutions will never use Bitcoin to move money across the planet. Those are facts, right? You need to look at ISO tokens, right?
Really quick. It depends on the size of the transaction, because first of all, when it comes down to security and robustness of the blockchain, it really matters.
If you go to El Salvador, guys, if you go to El Salvador and you try to use Bitcoin to buy groceries, it doesn't work, guys.
That doesn't work. No, I'm not talking about that. Hey, you're talking about banks, though. You're talking about banks.
Yeah.
We're talking about moving
millions and millions of dollars. Bitcoin is the safest, most secure network. When it comes down to it, if crypto is really being widely used, you're going to be under the risk of a 5150 attack on literally any blockchain except for Bitcoin at the moment in time.
No, what are you talking about? If you take control of 51% of miners in Bitcoin, it's done, right? It's completely done.
That's harder to do. Bitcoin is more secure.
So you're saying something like XRP is not better to move money around the planet than Bitcoin? Is that what you're? I mean, even for remittances, right? Look at MoneyGram partnership, right? XRP Ripple had that partnership.
It's easier to 5150 attack. I'm saying it's easier to attack.
Well, looking at the movement in terms of gas fees and transaction speed, I'll concede as a Bitcoin guy, I'll concede that XRP and XLM, yeah, they're going to be faster and they're going to be cheaper. But the miners decentralist argument in terms of security is one that's hard for me personally to ignore.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to disagree on the Bitcoin thing, because I mean, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, but I mean, you're ISO 20.0022, that takes effect starting November of this year and goes to November of 2025, right? Those are your XRPs, your XLMs, those are your IOTAs, and there's a handful of XDC, and there's a handful of other tokens. Those are the tokens that are going to be used for traditional finance. Have you heard of something called the DTCC, the Depository Trust Clearinghouse? That moves 2.1 or 2.2 quadrillion dollars a year out of it, paying like securities and all this other stuff, right? The DTCC, it's been trying to go digital for the last 6 years. And if you look up something called Project Ion, that is their sandbox that they were using to test this on a global scale. Do you think they're going to be using Bitcoin to settle those transactions? No, they're going to be using something like XRP, XDC. They're going to be using R3, Corda, all of that stuff.
Hey, you're still confused though on what we're talking about. Sure, for daily transactions, buying coffee, you can use whatever blockchain you want. But when we're talking about moving millions of dollars, nobody's going to use some blockchain that will get 5150 in a heartbeat, period.
So you're saying XRP or XLM are going to be 5150s? Is that what your point is?
They easily could be, yes. It won't take that much money. There's plenty of crypto millionaires or whatever, crypto billionaires that could easily overthrow either network if they wanted to.
And I guess
I strongly disagree.
Well,
Sorry.
there's an argument I hear in my community occasionally from XRP maximalists in Wales that implies that they are going to be the superior coin over Bitcoin after given a certain amount of institutional adoption and buying action. But the Bitcoin people counter with, well, you guys say we're centralized, even though we pretend to be decentralized. Well, what about the Ripple wallet whale percentages? Like the Ripple team themselves hold an incredibly large percentage of that project's liquidity.
It's ridiculous that if anybody who's seriously talking about XRP being utilized in long term, or they just don't understand tokenomics or what's really going on there.
I'd have to say you have not done your due diligence on XRP then, if that's what that's your opinion, because Ripple has partnerships with like 40 or 50 of the top 100 banks of the world. You have
a bunch of which are in Africa. You're right, but I can't. Yeah, it doesn't change their team equity though. I think they've got too much.
That's your opinion, though. That's your opinion that you think they have too much. But really, when you look at the facts and what's going on, if you follow it, you know that this is actually going to happen. You don't see Bitcoin ISO approved, do you? Yeah, because there's no so when you're looking at ISO, right? It's not the token that is ISO compliant; it's the company, right? Bitcoin has no centralized. There's no centralized with Bitcoin, right? It's anonymous. Whoever owns Bitcoin, whoever designed Bitcoin, Satoshi, nobody knows who that person really is, right? So it's never going to be ISO compliant. So that means it's not going to be used in this new financial system to move money, guys. That's just facts.
Bitcoin is aside from that. First of all, second of all, XRP, that like 20 or 30% of supply is owned by the team. Yeah, there's just no chance. And additionally, Ripple is a company. Ripple is not XRP. XRP is their token and their blockchain, right?
Yep.
Ripple's making deals. XRP is the token. If they use the XRP technology to make transactions, it doesn't mean XRP token goes up. It doesn't mean XRP is bullish. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means they utilize their blockchain tech to move money around their own private version of the blockchain. Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying, but you have not done enough due diligence on XRP or even XLM or any of these tokens to understand fully what's going on behind the scenes. But it's cool.
Okay.
No worries. I'll have to send you some stuff after this.
I would argue, don't send me
Shoot
anything.
that stuff to me too. I'd be curious.
I've been here for so long, since the beginning of XRP, dude, and I've seen the same people saying the same thing about banks, about all this bullshit. That it's just like you're like regurgitating these articles that you're reading.
80% of Japanese banks are on RippleNet.
Yeah, I've seen the same, and there's a lot of African banks that are getting partnered with Ripple Labs as well.
Yeah, and United Arab Emirates and the U.S. Right? Bank of America has patents with Ripple and XRP, using XRP to move money. I mean, guys, you got to follow the money, right? So how long, let me ask you this question. How long does it take to do a Bitcoin transaction? What is the average time? 6 minutes, 6 hours, depending how fast it is, right? If you get the global economy using Bitcoin to make transactions, your transactions are going to take 6 hours, 24 hours. I mean, God knows how long. I mean, it already has problems now with the limited use it has right now. Imagine 1 billion people trying to send Bitcoin to each other. How congested do you think that network's going to get?
Probably as congested as Ethereum gets when Bored Ape Yacht Club wants to do another mint.
Yeah, and that's why Ethereum's not going to be used on a global scale to move trillions and trillions of dollars around the planet, right?
Not in this permutation.
Guys, what you have right now is a problem, right? You have a problem with instant settle. You have instant payment, but you don't have instant settlement, right? These banks have 10 to 15 trillion dollars parked around the planet in different places, right? If you're a company doing business, like if I'm an American and I'm doing business in China, I have to have a bank account in China to settle payments in those accounts, right? That's how that works, right? When you get into a place when you're using instant payment and instant settlement like XRP, like XLM, like XTC, that is when those banks can take all of that money out because they don't need it there to settle 2 to 3 days later, right?
Wait, guys, is it okay if we move? I think we've been on this topic a while. I kind of want.
No worries, no worries.
I think we should talk
If
about
you
some
want to
other
move
stuff.
on, that's fine. But I
Let's
was
do it.
enjoying this debate. This was a great
I
debate.
mean, no, this was great. I was just thinking you guys are talking about like differences in like blockchains and like the utilizations. I was thinking it'd be cool to talk about, layer 2s versus layer 1s. And
You're the host, brother. You're the host. Do whatever.
Yeah.
You're the
you want,
host
brother. I'm
with
just
the
No,
most.
that's all. Yeah, no, that it was cool. I was listening. I was taking notes actually. Yeah, so like
the interesting thing about layer 2s, like if we go back to Polygon, I suppose, is Vitalik has even said himself that when Ethereum 2.0 comes out, it's the layer 2s that are going to benefit the most. And I'm hard done by to find any evidence that doesn't prove that will always be the case. So for me, I'm way more bullish on Polygon than I am actually on Ethereum, even if it does become super fast and super cheap, because the layer 2s will always benefit more from it because they were always faster and cheaper than the layer 1 they were built on. Now, who's going to tear my head off?
Not me. I've got too many friends watching who like Arbitrum.
I thought that was going to be more controversial than it was.
Well, I'm a fan of Lightning Network. I'm a fan of Arbitrum. I think these solutions are not perfect. They have problems, but given how well they're being expanded, how they're being adopted, in some ways solving some of the problems that the chains themselves natively possess, it's hard for me to not think that in the current market environment that they're serving their purpose, at least.
Yeah, especially if you look at what Polygon's doing at the moment. It's got so many huge partnerships, like social media platforms from Web2 are partnering up with Polygon. Disney has just partnered up. They're actually
Gonna say it's kind of easier to ask a question of what Polygon isn't trying to do.
yeah. Have you seen that they've also got contracts coming in with certain nations to use NFTs as your identification? That might spark some controversy. What's everyone's opinion on that?
well, I mean, aren't they trying to introduce soulbound tokens, right? So like, isn't that sort of like the main thing? Is they have soulbound tokens for all the official documentation? I guess that can work.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Honestly,
for me, it's interesting. I actually might favor a more centralized blockchain in that case. Like if a government were to build its own blockchain, because obviously you don't need tokenomics on a blockchain necessarily. The technology can be expanded to anything.
for sure.
So like for our medical records, things like that, I'd much rather see that on a centralized blockchain than on Polygon, for instance. But yeah, in regards to layer 1s, layer 2s, I'm at this point, I was a Ethereum maxi, and I'm now probably more of a Polygon maxi than I am an Ethereum maxi.
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking with the documentation is like, what if you just lose your wallet, right? Would you just be screwed? Like, how do you prove? How do you prove who you are?
Yeah, there would be fail-safes. I suppose you'd have a private key again, wouldn't you? But you would hope people would store safely. You could build backdoors into the network so that government agencies could actually reissue you with your password, but then that exposes the network to corruption as well at the same time. So it's a difficult question to answer, I suppose, and it's probably going to take more time than we've got tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, do you think cold wallets become more implemented due to more documentation being put into NFT form?
Yeah, especially as people switch over more to using wallets, in terms of crypto wallets as opposed to their banks and their general purpose wallets. Obviously, more and more money is going to flood into the blockchain as adoption increases and grows. So I think more and more people are going to buy those ledgers. They're going to buy those Trezors or any other safe PAL kind of alternative that there's around, because people are going to be worried about keeping their money safe. And it's the best way to keep it safe at the end of the day, isn't it?
Well, if you introduce IDs into the mix, it's certainly going to get complex. And I guess as the sort of socially conscious voice in the room at the moment, I should mention that there's going to be anyone listening to this who's going to say, whoa, isn't that like the Web3 equivalent of getting a barcode tattooed on my wrist? I don't know if I want that.
Oh, I can't wait.
You can't wait. What?
Yeah, put it on my forehead, I say.
Forehead. I mean, I guess if it's on the forehead, they can put the scanner up higher, right?
Yeah. Although I'm the best part of 6'1", so they might have to reach up a little bit.
A lot of people seem to think that the public nature of ledgers is what gives them some of their inherent value, is one way I've heard the argument phrased. Isn't putting our identities on a public ledger kind of a dangerous proposition in a world where we have these identity thieves from all over the place stealing other people's everything?
Yeah, I suppose
That's true.
it's rectified somewhat, isn't it? Because they could, much like anybody, could go and look at all of our public addresses online for our wallets. They don't have our private key, do they? So, like, even if they took all of our information, if they wanted to use it, they would have to confirm it with the linked wallet. And I'm sure there's some genius out there who could probably hack a wallet. I bet I actually did watch a YouTube video, as it happens, of somebody hacking a Trezor. But that kind of puts some of it to rest, I suppose, because you would have to have that device to authenticate, so they'd physically have to take it off of you to do so.
I didn't even know that. I'm trying to think, like, isn't there like a sort of extra, layer of confidence, since you can now have like better verification since everything's public, right?
Yeah.
No. Hard pass.
Having everything public, in my opinion, is not the not the best thing. But I think there's a balance, just like we said, meet us in the middle, and it tends to be a better way of life. Because there's certain things you want to keep private. You don't want people to necessarily know where you live. Because it only takes one madman. Like, I'm publicly doxxed, like many other people in the space. And quite easily, probably within 10 minutes, you could find my last name also. I've not been very good at cleaning up after myself online, so you can easily find my entire name and where I come from. You can put me in on ancestry.com and find out a load of stuff about me. But my address is private, and that, for me, that's one of the things, because you just don't know who's around, do you? And it's not so much about yourself, but it's about your family, your kids, and for me,
other people in your family.
There's a lot of crazy bastards in this world.
Yeah, me being one of them, but not quite in the same sense.
No, I was thinking it gets a little too, 1989 if you have everything public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good meme.
What's so funny?
Good memes.
Good meme. I mean, isn't that what they're doing in China now? With they have like a Chinese like centralized currency now, right?
The social credit system is what they
social
call
credit
it.
system.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's very troubling stuff, to say the least. For anyone.
What's your guys' What's your guys' opinion on the way China's been handling cryptocurrency and such and stuff like that?
I've probably got the weirdest take on that. I'll let everyone else go first, though.
I think it's a tricky thing to answer, especially in this day and age, because obviously you don't want to offend anyone or say anything untoward.
True.
So normally your best plan of attack in that circumstance is you go no comment, which is probably a comment of itself at that point.
More on the media and reaction to media than anything, my friend.
Yeah, and you do have to be cognizant of those things, don't you? But let's say I'm not the biggest fan of how they've gone about it.
Well, what if we specified our terms a little bit better, Brent, so that you felt a little less anxious about the discussion? Let's talk not about, oh, what is China, the nation state, doing, and all of its people encompassed therein, and the expatriates and all of that, and we'll focus on China, the government.
Oh yeah, fuck them.
Okay. All right. So now we're feeling a little more comfortable. Let's talk
Yeah.
about what China, the government, is doing then.
China just wants to control. China wants to control their population, right? They don't want to see a bunch of their population making millions and millions of dollars off of cryptocurrency, right? That is why they're cracking down on everything, in my personal opinion.
And I'd like to throw a bone to the Chinese government and suggest that if I were an official of any political ideology in charge of over 1 billion people, I'd probably want to control them a little bit too, just to be completely fair to the government. That said,
all of our governments want to do that, though, don't they? To a certain degree.
Mm-hmm. They do. What makes China's behavior most curious to me is the kind of social angle and the rhetoric that comes out politically from their state government, coupled with the behavior of the money, right? The government will turn and in one side of its head say, Bitcoin is terrible, crypto is terrible, it's toxic, it's bad, we don't want any of it. But then out of the other side of their head, they will whisper to their friends, but that's really just because we want to keep the plebs out of this like freedom money shit. And we'd really like them to hold digital yuans instead. So let's bundle that in with the social credit and we'll discourage all the stuff we don't like. And to any of our friends and people who have money, you guys can keep on doing whatever you want.
Yeah, but
it's a scary thought.
In their credit, they have done very well with that strategy, haven't they, economically?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's worked out fantastically for them.
Yeah,
put them in quite a position of strength, especially when people consider, oh, what are a lot of Bitcoin miners will ask the question, where's the hash power being controlled? I remember a lot of that debate every time China says we're banning Bitcoin, as the government says we're banning Bitcoin. The miners will have this sort of frenzied debate: who controls the hash power? Raised eyebrow.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, though, isn't it? Because you go, again, there's probably a balance. You do want to keep your citizens in line to a certain degree. You just don't want to overstep your bounds at the same time, isn't it?
I feel like that's a good point to make because I've noticed that like the Chinese yuan seems to be manipulated in the forex market by, I assume, the Chinese government, because they're trying to keep the yuan value low so they can keep exporting, because they need to keep everyone employed. Because if they don't keep everyone employed, I assume they'll retaliate.
Well, but if they don't, there a bank run going on in certain Chinese banks?
Yeah, definitely. That is happening right now. No one's paying mortgages.
No, that's a smear campaign, and it's not happening.
Oh, sorry. It's not happening.
Well, I don't know much about the details of the bank run. I just have heard a lot of international talk that there's a bank run. That's what I've heard. So if anyone has more info,
the government said everything's okay.
The government's always going to say everything's fine. We investigated ourselves. We cleared ourselves of any wrongdoing. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, our internal investigation found out that internally we were fine.
Yeah,
internally.
All is good.
We're all right. Everything's fine here. How are you?
But has anybody else got comments? Because now it's only the three of us talking. We've gone back into shit posting mode.
Yeah. We've gone into the next phase of this AMA. I'm actually gonna check. I don't think anyone has been, but yeah, no one's actually been posting any questions. Honestly, I want to know your guys' opinion. What do you guys think, about, Forex trading and the people who make, the Forex trading courses? Do you think there's any substance to that, or is it just, it's all baloney?
They make more money from selling the courses than they do actually swing trading forex.
That's not surprising to me, given what I've seen them charge.
Yeah. For me, I've traded forex and I've traded ETFs. Like I said earlier, I was a DGM before it was really a thing. So I was 50x leveraging forex and making a few trades that won, making a few trades that didn't. Forex is very difficult to do what they're telling you that it can do with their trading courses, because they're going, you can make 1 to 2% on this a day, blah blah blah, waffle. Forex is more of a long-term play. You kind of look at the economics of two countries and go, do I think that one of these currencies is going to be more strong against the other in a year's time? And you make plays like that in forex. Do I think the
No, that
ETF?
makes sense.
Yeah. Do I think the ETF trading courses are real? Also no, but you should buy mine if you have any.
You should buy yours.
Yeah.
How much is yours? How much is yours?
It's £1,500.
1,500.
Just
Jesus.
to get access to the website, and then it's $5,000.
Oh my. Oh, and then you have like the people have subscriber only like Google Documents as well.
Yeah.
And then basically, and then after that it's blank, right?
Yeah.
It
To
just
be
says,
fair, I talk so much that I don't think I'd ever actually bring any value to a course, because I tell everybody what I know for free.
yeah. I mean, the secret is you gotta make people think that you have more things to say in the course, even if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do any of you guys watch CoffeeZilla?
Oh, I watch CoffeeZilla.
Yeah, CoffeeZilla is dope.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
His content on all of that sort of stuff was brilliant, and it just
He is a bloody inspiration.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He's been going a little bit heavy on crypto lately.
Yep.
I've been like, ooh, come on, mate, calm down.
You're right. I agree. He rhetorically he's going especially hard, but at the same time, I have to admit his targets are apt.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole coverage of John Legend, stuff like that, was quite good. Although I'm sure he's a lovely man.
Save the Kids.
Yeah.
I think Save the Kids is my favorite. There's a whole saga.
Yeah,
There's
what
the
was it, like
edited
5
animations.
episodes?
Yeah, I think so. It's like 30 minutes per session.
Yeah, I want him to do more of that, where he does these real deep dives. It's really interesting to see how he got there and how he found it.
What are your YouTube resources, if any, other than CopyZilla, did you ever go to for inspiration?
In terms of when I make content?
Yeah.
I have to be honest, I don't watch a lot of other YouTubers. There's YouTubers I'll watch just for pleasure. Like, I quite like how good Jesse Eckel is at telling stories.
Agree.
Obviously, it doesn't mean you should follow him or do any of that stuff, but he is a good storyteller. I enjoy Austin just because he's Austin.
I mean, Austin was in the listeners earlier, actually.
Yeah, I did see him. He obviously stole the orange background from myself. I didn't steal it off of him. But yeah, there's certain people I quite like. I think his name's Max Mayher. I'm not quite sure.
Max Mayher, yes.
Yeah,
I really like Max.
He gets people writing his shows though. Those, all like CoffeeZilla and Max. Those guys have a whole team of people that put together all their shows. But they those two are probably one of the best as far as putting things in order and actually teaching you something. They did a great. I think it was Max did a great one about miners, right? Crypto miners, and how when Ethereum switches from when they go to proof of stake, all of those miners that are powering the network, what's going to happen to them and where they're going to go. If you haven't seen that, you should go watch it. It was very, very, very interesting about all these miners that are going to have to switch over from different Ethereum Classic, or Flux or all these different ones. So they put out a dope ass video. You guys should definitely watch that to get educated on that.
Yeah, slide in my DMs and send me the link if you've got time.
Ping me on Twitter so I can actually send. I got to send you a bunch of stuff. I got to educate you on ISO. Like,
Yeah,
are
we'll
you
have an
guys familiar
education
with
session.
ISO? You know, the new standards that all these banks and financial institutions are going to use. You know, are you guys familiar with all that stuff?
Not deeply.
Educate us.
Okay. All right, guys. So, all right. Well, if you'll give me a 2 seconds here. So, the old payment rails, right? You have instant payment, but you don't have instant settlement, right? It takes a couple days to get that, right? This is what I was trying to tell you about earlier. But these new standards, right? 30 global payment systems are going to move over to ISO in November of this year, right? The ISO, right, is going to be able to use Corda and R3. If you don't know what Corda and R3 is, you need to Google it. But Corda and R3 use cryptocurrency to move money, right? And the only projects that are ISO approved right now are going to be your XRP, your XRLMs, your IOTAs. I don't know if Quant's on there, but there's several other ones that those are the main ones that are going to be used on a global scale to move money. And those are the tokens that I'm telling my community to buy. And that is what I'm educating my community on weekly, each token. So like I've done XRP, I've done XDC. Today I'm going to be educating my community on XLM. But these are the ones that are going to be the real winners in the end, right? So you need to understand what those are and how those are going to be used. And once you actually do a deep dive on that, then you're really, the light will shine and you'll be like, man, why don't I have a bag of XRP or XLM, right? You follow the money, right? That's what you need to do. And if you guys want to get educated, come into my community, and I will sit down with you and I will show you what you need to know. But you know, they're not going to be using Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't ISO approved, just so you know. So
Well, I
know,
actually joined your community yesterday, mainly because I knew the list of people coming on today, and I went, "Who can I go shill the rebellion to?" And I literally joined all of your projects on Discord. So I will be sliding into all of your DMs regarding that as well.
yeah, man. I mean, this is what
Sounds
I do.
good to me,
I
boss.
love this stuff, man. I eat, sleep, and breathe crypto, and this is all I do. And when you do some deep dives on this stuff, guys, so Swift system is what we're using right now, right? To move money, right? When you go to a gas station and you pay, that's instant payment, but that settlement doesn't happen for a few days later, right? Once you get on this new system, you have instant payment and instant settlement. So all of these banks can take all of these trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that they have parked all over the world, and then they're going to be able to use that to help SMEs, small to medium enterprises, you know, small businesses and things like that. This is actually going to help businesses that are, you know, that some businesses don't have the money to pay for exports and all this other stuff, right? Because they can't get instant payment and they can't get instant settlement. Once this whole thing takes over, you're going to have just a global adoption of all of these companies actually going to be able to start being able to maintain. So if you want to get educated, that is where I would say to start right now, because in November, this is really when it starts taking off.
Okay, this is. I'll take a look at ISO. I've never heard of it. It's very interesting.
Here's a question for you guys.
Words. All it is a dictionary of words for payment systems, right? And
Oh.
so the whole world is going to be on the same exact dictionary of payments. And you know, yeah, ping me. I'll send you a video I did actually 3 weeks ago, and I did it on XRP, but mainly explaining what ISO is. And once you truly understand that, that'll open up doors and everything into your mind. And that's when you're going to be like, oh shit, maybe I should buy some XRP. Maybe I should buy some XLM, because that's what's going to be used on a global scale to move money.
And now's the time to buy.
Exactly.
Really hard to buy XRP.
Okay,
Well,
I
it's
guess buy.
It's like they say, buy on the sound of cannons and sell on the sound of trumpets.
Amen.
It's a time to accumulate more than anything, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm accumulating right now, so I mean, but it's whatever you want to do. I mean, would you rather buy one Bitcoin for 20 grand, Or would you rather buy, you know, a couple 100,000 XLM or a couple 100,000 XDC, right? Where are you going to make the most money in the end, right? Are you going to wait for Bitcoin to go to 100 grand and just get a 5x? Or are you going to, you know, take your couple 100,000 XLM, wait for that to hit a couple dollars, and you're just going to kill it once all of this stuff starts happening? So, but we
What
can have
is the
another
market
chat
cap of
about all this.
XLM right now?
What's up?
What's the market cap of XLM right now?
I think it's like 2.5 billion.
Okay, so there's still a lot more room to grow in comparison to Bitcoin as well.
Oh, you have no idea, guys.
Yeah.
These are the tokens that you're gonna want to own, like Quant, right? I would rather buy Quant right now than Bitcoin any day, right? I did a session about Quant like 2 weeks ago. Quant has a fewer token supply, and it's just going to interact with everything, and really Quant is what I would be buying instead of Bitcoin any day of the week.
Yeah, I have to be
Alright.
honest. I'm a bit of a Bitcoin minimalist. It's the OG, it's the Big Daddy. You got to respect it. But it's like you say, if you're looking to make money, you look at where the biggest gains can be made.
Yeah.
You don't look at the big boy who's going to make you 20% a year. You look at what could I invest in that's going to go up 500% or 1,000%. You're looking for those early plays because as old as crypto is now, it's still really young in terms of financial sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the big mistakes is that people think that because crypto is going to keep going up, that whatever they invest in now, it's going to for sure go up. But we don't know what's going to be the established coin or the established chain in the future. There's still a lot of, mystery to it.
Well, no, you kind of do. You know that you see.
Well,
You
I know
gotta follow.
XLM now. I know XLM now.
Well,
Yes.
just look up just Google ISO 20022. Once you look that up, it'll say Corda and R3. Then you go look at what Corda and R3 is. Once you understand what Corda and R3 is, you say, okay, what are the tokens that Corda and R3 are going to be using? This is what is going to be replacing Swift, guys. So you're talking about trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars moved daily. If you choose those tokens that they're going to be using to move those trillions of dollars, that is where you're going to get the biggest and greatest returns.
So here's a question for you guys then. What's your opinion on CBDCs, the central bank digital currency?
It all goes into those. It all goes into ISO, man. So
I'm going to guess that Sensei says when they pair with ISO, it's fine. It's going to be great.
Hey, I'm following the money, man. I mean, when you have partnerships.
Yeah.
So look, HSBC, Citibank, and there's one other one. HSBC and Chase are responsible for 80% of international payments. And then you look at, okay, so who are those banks partnered with? And if you go down the rabbit hole, you'll see that HSBC is a RippleNet partner, right? You'll see that Chase has JP Morgan Chain Coin or whatever it is, but you do have some of the biggest banks in the world that are already connected to RippleNet. The only reason XRP is at 30 cents right now, guys, is because of the SEC lawsuit. But people are like, oh, the SEC lawsuit, if Ripple loses, Ripple's done. That's not true. Only 5% of Ripple's business is inside the United States. Ripple can move their headquarters outside of the United States and be fine. This is going to happen whether anyone likes it or not. I'm not an XRP maxi, but I'm smart enough to follow the money and the partnerships.
Yeah, so like for me, again, I'm a middling man in every regard. Because I look at it and I go, what are the benefits of the CBDCs? Just from like a play standpoint, not necessarily from where it could lead us or anything like that. I go, when our central banks and our governments have government-backed stablecoins, that's going to bring a lot more people into DeFi and into crypto because it's going to become a hell of a lot easier to start buying Bitcoin, start buying Polygon, start buying ETH, XRP, whatever you want to say, because you won't have to take your dollar and then move it to Binance, although you guys have got a shitty version of Binance over there, haven't you, in most places? But the rest of us would take it to Binance and then from Binance send it to the blockchain. You would just be able to take your card, buy it directly on the blockchain, and cut out all of these middleman centralized exchanges in that regard. So in terms of volume and market cap, I think it's going to be immense in terms of the money it can bring to the market.
Yeah.
You mentioned market capitalization. Right now, I think part of the reason that Bitcoin continues to be the big dominant player, even though we do have faster chains, we do have cheaper chains, we've got, proof of stake now and all that. The reason we're going to continue to see Bitcoin hold on is because a lot of projects and exchanges are using it as like a base pair. So Bitcoin becomes, in that way, when it rises, everyone else's dollar and euro and Great British pound and whatever fiat price will rise with the value of the Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's used as the medium, the sort of middleman between the dollar or the euro or the Great British pound and whatever that speculative altcoin is. So in that sense, Bitcoin becomes the crypto industrial average on the internet, basically.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because effectively, much like the dollar is the global standard in terms of what we all trade in, Bitcoin is the global crypto standard, and it's equivalent, isn't it? Even though it's much more volatile.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say that I think CBDCs will just bring about some, like Brett was saying, some more trust and, people volume in general. Just some people would be willing to like put money in because they don't think that the money could potentially go to zero, right? I think that's a big fear for a
They'll
lot of
feel better
non-crypto
about
people.
it.
And potentially it could bring in these types of FDIC insurance funds and stuff like that, because
I think the circle's already looking into it.
yeah. So at that point, it does become a lot safer, because if Binance went under, it's insured.
Mm-hmm.
It's regulated. I know, again, we're going back into that regulation thing now that I've said it, but not all regulation is bad, is it?
No, there's a
But
reason why we have some.
yeah, it's a balance, isn't it? You want to rightfully regulate, not over-regulate.
Exactly. And so, like, if you really want to see crypto become a 10, 20, 30 trillion dollar market, that's when banks and financial institutions are buying in, right? I just did some quick math for you guys, and I know you guys love Bitcoin and stuff like this, but check this out. For your same $20,000 one Bitcoin, you could buy 66,000 XRP right now. For the same one Bitcoin, you could buy 200,000 XLM. And for the same Bitcoin, you can buy 1 million XDC. Where do you think you're going to make more money over the next 2 years? Holding that one Bitcoin, or holding the ISO tokens that are really going to take and shape the future of how money moves around the planet? That's a no-brainer for me.
Well, let me ask you this. Which of the three are you personally more bullish on?
So
Not financial
so
advice.
I get asked this a lot.
No, not financial advice.
No financial advice.
Not financial advice, guys. So my 4 top plays for my future that I'm counting on are XRP, DAG, Constellation, XLM, and XDC. Those are the 4 tokens that I think are going to make me a multi-millionaire. Like
And this is just speculative, just opinion. I was
This
just
is an
curious.
opinion.
Yeah.
And
I'm not a financial advisor. I just follow the money. I mean, I spend hours a day researching this stuff, and I mean, what? So let's say Bitcoin goes to what, $500,000 in the next 5 years, or whatever the time it takes. The amount of money that you would have just spent on XLM, XTC, or XRP, that is going to be way past $500,000, in my personal opinion. Way past.
Yeah, with Bitcoin
I just
is a
want to
rising
say,
tide. Isn't
yeah,
it?
you've made the strongest, most bullish case for the sort of XRP XLMs that I've heard in a while, because in my community, a lot of people are so chart dependent, as I would say, that they would say the only thing that matters is the price action, and everything else is just not relevant.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's just because the supply and demand chart doesn't really apply to most crypto things.
Yeah, and it
For
depends
some
on what
reason,
you're doing.
when price goes up, demand goes up. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, and it depends what you're doing as well. If you're looking for a
Yeah.
3-week flip, that chart's very important, because it
Yeah.
will help you dictate what your actions are next. However, if you're just looking for the biggest long-term hold,
Yes.
you need to look at
Yeah.
fundamentals, not a technical
Yeah, you
analysis.
need to look further.
Because with even like right now you could buy a DAG node, right? You need 250,000 DAG. Those are about $17,000, right? If you look at the DAG partnerships constellation with partnerships with the United States Air Force, right? The United States Air Force, Department of Defense have more money than we can even dream about, right? And these guys have looked at every single cryptocurrency, every project in the world, and they settled on DAG Constellation. And the reason they do that is because it's a feeless, infinitely scalable network that is just going to slap around, right? DAG uses state channels, which is the next evolution of smart contracts, right? In 5 years, smart contracts will be a thing of the past, right? State channels are really where it's at. And if you don't know anything about state channels, start getting educated on it. But holding a DAG node is going to make you a millionaire in the future. That not financial advice, but I have
Okay.
about 6 DAG
Don't
nodes.
quote me on
Yeah.
that.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, we'll quote you on
Follow
that.
the money.
Actually, yeah. I mean, we're coming to an end now, so we wanted to touch briefly on Delta. So me and Yusuf are here as well. That's all right.
Hit us with a Delta, man. Hit us why we should buy Delta. Why should we go buy Delta NFTs?
I mean, not only is it a very unique DeFi protocol, I actually personally went through and did the tokenomics for it, and honestly, you okay, Yusuf?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds very excited. What time is it actually? But all right, I was just gonna go over.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, no, like I said, some very strong opinion. I just been listening in, dipping in and out. Very strong opinions. Cough, cough, CryptoSensei. But yeah, no, Delta Finance is obviously our little baby. I don't want to bore you to death, but essentially, we like to call ourselves the savings accounts of the future. We want to be as sustainable as possible. We want to reach long-term sustainability. That is the ultimate goal with Delta Finance. We've taken the model of Hex, which in turn took the model of a bank. I mean, I know we talked a lot about real life, banking and stuff in this few hours that we've been together. We've taken the model of a bank and sort of extrapolated it and DeFi'd it and added various features and things like that. And so you can't really go wrong with it. I'm sure Chase will delve into some of the tokenomics, but I mean the features that we've had, we obviously got burning system that contributes to taxes and things like that. And then we've got 50% USDC payouts at quarterly dividends, which is exciting. And of course we've got our NFT cycles. So the first cycle is going to give you like a sort of 4,600 or 1,600% APY boost on your savings account, if you like, because the APY anyways is decaying. So this will give you a non-decaying boost. And then the next NFT cycle will be attached to a game. It's very exciting. My day job is a racing driver. I don't know if any of you know. I think fair few people know. So that's why I've been dipping in and out, because I had a bit of a crash a few days ago. So been in hospital, but I'm all good. But yeah, no. So my day job is a racing driver, and so the NFTs will be race cars, and you'll be able to race these cars in this game. And the idea is, because of my contacts in real life, we'll be able to make partnerships. And the idea is, if you come like first, second, third, you can go and get some autographs, go and race a car, go and see sort of an event. We can fly around the world, etc., etc. I mean, we've got the first partner, Staron Socky Singh Racing, Formula 3 driver. He's quick. He's on our website, and you'll see more of him hopefully in the next few weeks. He's coming on the James Pelton channel and the DeFi Cryptos Today channel in a couple of days' time. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff planned. I mean, and that attaches to a game which in turn generates income. And the whole idea is Delta will turn into sort of an ecosystem that is sort of very self-sufficient. And we like to say Chase and I like to say, we're bear market ready. You know, if we had the code, if the code's being developed at the moment, we would launch. Whether we have 10 investors or a billion investors, it's something that can pay off an APY sustainably within the next 3, 4, 5 years. But yeah, I think that's the general spiel. Then if anyone has any questions, but if not, I'll hand it back over to DeFi Crypto today, who's one of our advisors, and I think James is gone because it was a car journey. But yeah, I'll let Chase and DeFi Crypto today, Chris, talk through some tokenomics.
Okay. Actually, I'll just bring up some stuff. The
Oh yeah, and if you haven't
non-decaying.
signed up for the poker, it starts in like 5 minutes. So jump on and into our Discord and play some poker. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Absolutely. All of my listeners, please do that. I
Join the
guys,
poker.
but I've got some schoolwork to finish up. I'm wrapping up an MBA course for the summer.
Okay. I was just gonna go over a couple of the tokenomic stuff. One thing I like to mention about the first series of NFTs is that while it is non-decaying, it does not last the entire like deposit duration. So that even though it's like 4,000 or 600 or 100% APY bonus, it's not actually going to be effectively that high because it only lasts for 3 months. This is because while we do want to give an advantage to early investors, we don't give such an advantage such that it just crumbles and crushes the protocol by creating, massive debt that we eventually have to pay back off, either through, broker revenue or other things. I just want to say that. Chris, is there anything you want to add?
I'm mostly excited about our future NFT project with the race cars. I think that's going to be very, very, very exciting. Especially, it's another way to take advantage of NFTs and collectibles and bring a bit more excitement into the market than just looking at economics. I think that's going to be a lot more fun. And I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to have an AMA with Saran next week. And I'm going to start talking about his career and how he's going to be involved in that. So, yeah, so listen to the AMA. We're going to talk a lot about it. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this once that project is up.
Yeah, I mean the devs are currently slaving away, so we'll be out in 3-4 weeks' time. But yeah, Chase.
Yeah, actually, I was trying to say if you want to check out the game, the white paper is out, and a general description and design of the game is out there with a couple of with some math on there. One of the cool things I would say is that we wanted to be able to protect people from the situation in which the price goes to zero, so we copied Horde a bit and implemented a price stability mechanism. Sorry, I'm like suddenly getting like nasally over here.
All right, gents, I'm gonna head out. You guys have a wonderful day. For having me.
Sorry. All right. Thanks for coming, CryptoSensei.
Thanks so much for hosting. Thanks everyone for inviting me. This has been an amazing conversation.
Yeah, I'll slide into your DMs later, shall I?
Yeah, with lots of hot topics today. That was great.
Yeah, thank you for the
See you
information,
guys.
This was so informative.
See you guys.
Yeah, been great.
Make sure to jump into our Discord for some poker. But yeah, see you guys.
Yeah, I love you guys. Bye.
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 Stay curious, everybody.
Well, that was interesting. Thank you again to Delta Finance for inviting me. That was incredible. Awesome. My first time on Twitter. Thanks again, everybody. This is me out. Stay safe, take care, be well. And then again, always stay curious.